Thank you for joining me this morning. And we're going to do a short class, and we're going to focus on just some quieting poses. And so let's begin with just sitting in an easy pose. You could also sit, if you like, in something a bit more complicated. You could sit in a fire log pose if your knees are up to it, or just an easy pose. You do you. We're going to just do some breathing at the very beginning, just to settle into the practice. So we're inhaling and then exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And while you're just continuing your breath, feeling it move through your nostrils, into your belly, into your ribs, into your upper chest, and then exhaling through your nose from the top down. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. And I'll just to bring a few more breaths into you and let you find your own rhythm. And I'm going to read a short poem by Mary Oliver. My work is loving the world. Here the sunflowers, there the hummingbird, equal seekers of sweetness. Here the quickening yeast, there the blue plums. Here the clam deep in the speckled sand. Are my boots old? Is my coat torn? Am I no longer young and still half perfect? Let me keep my mind on what matters, which is my work, which is mostly standing still and learning to be astonished. The sheep in the pasture and the pasture, which is mostly rejoicing, since all the ingredients are here, which is gratitude, to be given a mind and a heart, and these body clothes, a mouth with which to give shouts of joy to the moth and the wren, to the sleeky dug-up clam, telling them all over and over how it is that we live forever. My work is loving the world. So we'll just move our neck around slightly. I'm very thirsty this morning, so you should always have some water by you when you're doing your yoga practice. I'm just nodding my head from side to side. And then I'm dipping down in front and coming back to the other ear, and then dipping down in front and coming back to the other ear. Now I'm going to take the diagonal part of my neck, and I'm going to imagine it has an eye and it's looking up into the upper corner of the room. Oops. Oopsie, oopsie. We're going to imagine it's looking up into the upper corner of the room, and then the other side, we're looking up into the other corner of the room, and then back again. Good. All right, we're going to work our shoulders here and our elbows, moving our shoulders and our elbows around to the back, and then lifting them up and around the other way. And now we're going to move our arms in big circles, lifting up, listening to our body, feeling where the tight spots are, and either letting go or moving through, depending on whether it's just a bit of discomfort or it's painful. So discomfort is something that helps us understand where we are at the moment, and pain is to be avoided. Good. All right. So let's go the other way, circling around. And now lifting up and circling around some more and just shaking your arms out. Now we're going to do some finger movements, just the spider climbing up the wall and moving out. We're working with joint mobility, this part of our class. Opening out and rotating our wrists one way, and you can move slowly and feel where the friction is. You can move the other way slowly, and then you can speed up. Good. And let's just stretch our fingers out to the front and lift up, and then press our wrists out, and then press our wrists the other way. Good. All right. Shake our hands out, and we'll do the flick off, pressing our thumbs, and then flicking off our hairs and woes. I find in the middle of the night I wake up and bemoan the state of the world and toss and turn. Anyway, I'm going to start doing the flick off about 4 a.m. I think, because it's treacherous out there. All right. Okay, let's open our arms out and let's give us a nice hug. Just walking our hands towards our spine, and then just bending our elbows, drawing the backs of our hands together. And then here you could hold on to your thumb, or you could just put the fronts of your palms together, the palms of your hands. Sorry, the fronts of your palms. A little bit of. I think I just woke up, so I plead waking up. It's all right. I'm lifting my elbows up, and I'm stretching I'm working to move my hands forward. Of course, it's not easy, but that's the general direction. And here we're really opening our shoulders with these eagle arms. Good. Now let's open our arms out, and let's bring them back with the other arm underneath. We'll walk our fingers towards our spine, and then bend our elbows, draw the backs of our hands together, and then our palms. And here we are again, doing this lovely thing now. I'm going to stretch my legs out because I'm getting a bit stiff. So you decide what you want to do. Very nice, lifting up, and pressing forward. So I'm working on that, learning that my work is loving the world. All right, and lift up and open out. Good. So let's come back, and let's just we'll come back and sit on our toes and do some toe squats, because we've done some good work with our hands, our shoulders, our neck. Now let's work with our toes and see how they're doing. So I'm moving back and sitting. I'm going to separate my toes out so that they're in a good place to stretch. So you might have to use your hands to do that. And then I'm sitting back, and there. And I'm just going to open my arms up and out, and looking up, and then coming back. Out and opening up, and then coming back. Good. Rolling my shoulders around, and I'm just going to shake my arms out here. And I'm breathing here. I'm going to imagine that magnanimous puppeteer drawing my the top of my head to the ceiling, and I'm just sitting on my heels. And you do you. If it's painful, of course, come out of it. And if it's uncomfortable, you could move away from it and move back into it. All right, now let's just come forward and we'll slap our feet, the tops of our feet. It's very satisfying. Gets all the wrinkles out. And now let's just come back into a downward dog. We'll do some opening of the hips here just by having a wide downward dog, stretching our hands out in front of us, and then walking over to the left side and just stretching out our right arm, our fingers towards our fingers are moving away from us, and our hip is moving in the opposite direction, the same side hip. So we're doing a very good stretch on the side body. Good. And now we're going to come back the other way and stretch on the other side. Very nice. And we're just breathing here. So one of the things where I find my yoga practice helps me with is just general stress and anxiety, I think. So by the time I leave the mat, I tend to have calmed down. All right, and back to the center, stretching out. Very nice. And it helps us get in touch with our body, how it's feeling. It helps us inhabit our body, really, I think, in a better way. So now I'm just going to do a twist here because we've been doing a forward bend. So let's do a little twist, stretching our feet out. I'm going to get a strap here so we can work a little bit sitting poses. We can have a strap around our feet here before we do the twist. Let's just sit in Dandasana, and you could sit on something to lift your hips up. And I have quite a loose grip here. I'm not stretching or straining at all. Very nice. We're inhaling and exhaling here. And now I'm going to tilt forward, and I'm just tilting forward with a straight back. And this might be where you are. In fact, if you have if it's very stiff, just bending your knees and tilting forward towards your legs is a good practice. It'll help you. And then you can slowly straighten your legs out and come down. So rather than, you don't want to overstrain your lower back. So here we are. I'm just going to settle down towards my thighs. And I've let go of the strap. I'm just going to put my hands on my shin, and I'm just going to round over. But I'm not really straining here. I am just trying to settle in. And I am allowing gravity to help me move. But I'm also moving my head forward and as I move down slightly. But really, it's early in the morning. I'm quite stiff as a board for some reason. So I'm just being very easy with myself. I've got a long day ahead of me. And now I'm going to lift up again. And I'm going to bring my legs apart and see how I do here. And I am going to put a blanket under my hips so that, and this is just protects your lower back, allows you to tilt a little bit more forward, tilt your pelvis a little bit forward. And I'm just going to use this sort of mice feet here and draw myself forward. So I'm not straining. And as you tilt, you'll find that once again, gravity will play a role in helping you move a little bit further. So why are we doing this? Well, we're not doing this to torture ourselves. We're doing it really to allow for the joints to really open up and the muscles to open up, and to give our spine some support. So here I'm just playing here. I think there's a big role for play in yoga, and I'm just lifting my ribs up, and then I'm like a clamshell lowering down towards my leg, and then I'm lifting up here, and then I'm lowering down, and I'm lifting up, and I'm lowering down, and up, and down. And now I'm going to, once again, these little mice feet, I'm going to go across the front, and I'm going to stretch out. I'm going to stretch out sort of on the side as I did before, so that my ribs are opening up. And then I'm going to, like a clam, I'm going to close down here. And you can inhale up, and then exhale down. So this is a side bend that it's dynamic. It has some movement in it. Opening up and inhaling, and exhaling down. And inhaling up, and exhaling down. Last time, inhaling up, and exhaling down. Good. And now little mice feet back to the center. And we'll just, let's draw our arms in and straighten them out, and straighten our back, and push out through our feet, and see how that feels. That will really make your, the arches of your feet spark, your calves. And here you can imagine that you're actually doing a little bit of a back bend here, because you are drawing your sternum forward. Good. All right. And now let's make our arms and clasp our fingers and draw them up and lift up. Very nice. Okay. And let's you can lift your legs up by the back of the thigh, and then we're going to just stretch our feet out and point our fingers behind us and open our chest up. Very nice. So this is kind of a preparation for camel. It has the same upper body as camel. Of course, our legs are very different, but we are opening our back body. We're making our spine concave and drawing our breastbone up. There should be nothing twinging in your lower back at all. If there is, just come out of it. All right, and now we'll come back and roll our shoulders back. And let's do a twist now. I promised a twist earlier. So we're going to just lift your left leg up, and then draw the other one in. And the opposite, the same arm as lifted knee goes back behind you, lifting you up, so you feel yourself moving up here. And then your twist is from the waist, and you are moving around towards that leg. You could hold on to the leg, or use your hand as a lever. There are various ways you can do it. You can have a bind here by drawing this arm through your your underneath your knee and around your spine. And here I'm just breathing, feeling the spinal twist, the double movement of it. My inhalation, I'm moving up, and my exhalation, I'm moving a little bit further around, or that's the intention. So inhaling up and exhaling, I'm moving around. Inhaling up and exhaling, I'm turning around. Inhaling up and exhaling, I'm turning around. Good. All right, now let's turn around again and press into the ground and lift up. Good. And back again. Let's just shake our legs out and lift up your other foot. Draw the other foot back, stretch up, and rotate around. Good. Very nice. And we're breathing here, feeling the breath entering through our nostrils, moving all through our torso, in spite of this twisty position. Good. All right. Turning back again. So let's see if we can go into. We've done a little bit of a back bend here. Let's do something else here. We'll do another back bend before we get into that. I'm doing back bends because it's very good for releasing deep emotions, I find. So I'm just coming back into child's pose here. And now I'm going to come forward and I'm going to put my belly down and I'm going to come into seal. So let's do a couple of cobras first. Putting my hands underneath my shoulders, lifting up, inhaling, and then coming down. And then hands under the shoulders, lifting first your shoulders and then your chest, your head lifting up, and then coming back down. And then let's put our fingers out, fingers underneath our elbows, and pressing into our fingers, shoulders coming up, chest, and then head. And we'll breathe here, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling, and then come down. Good. And then one last one, let's come up into an upper dog. So we're pressing our hands into the ground and the tops of our feet into the ground as we inhale, coming up, and then we'll come down. And now let's stretch our arms out so that they're at the edges of the mat and far in front of us. And I'm just kind of walking them back slightly so that I get into a seal pose, which is quite a deep back bend. This is a yin yoga pose. My arms are straight. And I'm just going to hold here for a moment or so because the practice of yin is holding the pose. Now you shouldn't feel anything in your lower back because here we are pressing our pelvis into the ground. And we are allowing the curvature of the spine to move from the sacrum all the way up to the neck bones. Now, my neck doesn't move the way it once did, so your neck may have more curvature, more your upper body. Cervical spine may have more curvature than mine, but you do what you can. And here I'm rolling my upper arms out so that my head is released. And I'm just breathing here. All right, and let's come down now slowly and make a pillow with your hands and put your cheek on your hands and just rest for a moment. You can turn your toes in here and rest. And then let's turn the other cheek onto your hands. Good. All right, now let's come up. I'm pushing myself up and back, and I'm going to get 2 blocks so that I can trick myself into doing camel very well. I always like to pretend I am using the blocks when in fact I tend to use my feet eventually. So here we are. Oops, I have 2 blocks here. And I'm just on my knees. And I have my toes turned under, like the toe squat we did earlier. And I'm coming back and I'm sitting on my heels for a moment. And I'm putting my blocks beside my feet. So as I say, this is my trick. So you can either use the blocks or your feet. So here, so I'm sitting up on my knees, and I'm putting my feet flat on the ground on the fronts. And I'm just going to dangle my arms, and I'm lifting my breastbone up here. And I'm feeling that my spine is curving the way it was when we were on the mat. And I'm just dangling my hands behind me. And then I'm kind of drifting back, pressing my pelvis forward. And you do you, your knees can be apart if you like. And then I'm coming down either to the block or to my feet, but it's hard to tell. Some days my feet are closer than others. So I'm just experimenting and seeing how I'm doing. I don't think I can do my feet today. So I'm just going to use the blocks. Really doesn't matter. Some days are better than others. So, and also you can, of course, turn your toes under, lift your heels up. So that brings your heels closer to your hands. Oh, there. Oof. All right. So I'm opening my chest, pressing my pelvis forward, making sure I'm not in my lower back, and lifting my chest up and feeling the opening of this pose. Good. And now I'm going to come up, and I'm going to come forward slowly into a child's pose, because it's a very powerful back bend. But I find back bends, especially if I'm stewing about something, a back bend is a great way to integrate powerful feelings. There we go. All right, let's roll up again. And let's do just a couple of pigeons here. And I'm doing this in honor of a friend who has problems with her sciatica. So I'm just drawing my back leg back, and I'm just going to stay up here for a moment, and then I'm going to come down. So here, my back leg is extended. Your front leg, the full pose is that your foot is flexed and your shin is at 45 degrees. Of course, my body doesn't work like that anymore, so I have my foot pointed, and the angle is much less acute. So I'm coming down here. You can come down onto blocks if you like, or you could come right down to the floor. And here, this is a lovely pose to really help stretch out your glute muscles. And it's a lovely pose. And you can, of course, if you like, come down to the floor, or you could be. So there are many good things this pose does in all those different positions. If you're up with your head moving towards the stars, it's doing some good work. All right. Good. Now I'm just going to come up again, and I'm going to come back. And one of the things you can do, if you like, is you can lift up that back foot and just let it down. So this is just stretching out the front thigh, which is notoriously tight for me. So I'm just lifting my back foot up and down, up and down. And if you feel like it, you can come back and clasp the foot potentially and draw it in and stretch that front thigh. And then you can let it go. And now do the other leg. And bring it back. There we go. Oh. And once again, I could be up on blocks here if it helps me. Or I can come down onto blocks, or I can come down onto the floor. So you breathe, make sure you're breathing in into your belly, into your lower ribs, into your upper chest, and then exhaling. So we'll do some of this deeper breathing. So let's inhale and then exhale. And inhale and then exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good. Now let's come back up, and once again, we can, if we feel like it, lift up that back leg. You can point the toe, and then bring it down. You need some padding under your knee to make that work, and you can just draw your heel in if you like. And then if you're up for it, you can reach back and clasp the foot and draw it in towards you. And depending on your thigh, this is either pleasant or unpleasant. It's quite unpleasant for me, but best to do it when I can. All right, and then drop that foot down. And then we're going to just come back here. And we're going to just do a couple of cat and cows. And just a few cat and cows here. And then coming up, and then over, and then up, and then over, and then up, over, and up. And now, because I said it was going to be a shorter class, we're going to come down to our back, and we'll do some closing movements. This class is really just on the floor, and it's intended to really allow us to ground and center ourselves, calm ourselves. I'm lifting my feet up and my arms are up above my head, rotating my ankles and feeling a sense of release here. I'm going to shake my arms in dead bug, and I'm going to do it slowly. I'm going to allow all the movement to integrate into my body. I'm releasing my lower spine. Very nice. Now let's put both feet on the ground, and we'll just do a little figure 4 here. So ankle just above the knee, drawing the knee in, holding the shin, back of the shin, or the back of the thigh or the shin. And I like to move a little bit in this. So, and I use my opposite elbow to press that bent knee out while I'm drawing the other leg in. It's a very complex stretch, really. It's a good one. Good. And now I'm just going to open my arms out, and I'm going to put my foot down and then drop my knees to one side. And here you can, if you like, put your hand on your thigh and draw your legs over a little bit further and look at your opposite hand. So it's quite a deep twist here, a closing twist. And now we're coming back, putting our feet on the ground, lifting the other leg up, drawing it in, and once again, having a lovely stretch here. And I'm moving a little back and forth. Good. And now I'm opening my arms out, and I'm dropping my knees to one side, and I'm putting my hand on my upper thigh and looking at the opposite hand. And now I'm turning back, lifting my knees up, and giving myself a little cuddle, feet on the ground, and then stretching out into our Shavasana. And I'm just going to lift my shoulders up and drop them down with my shoulder blades down my back. I'm going to wiggle a little to settle into the ground. I could lift my hands up and then drop them, my feet and legs up and drop them. Roll my head from side to side. Feel the skin on my face, on my scalp release as I breathe, finding my own rhythm, my own grounded Shavasana. And I'm going to reread the short poem I read at the beginning of class, Messenger by Mary Oliver. My work is loving the world. Here the sunflowers, there the hummingbird, equal seekers of sweetness. Here the quickening yeast, there the blue plums. Here the clam deep in the speckled sand. Are my boots old? Is my coat torn? Am I no longer young and still half perfect? Let me keep my mind on what matters, which is my work, which is mostly standing still and learning to be astonished. The phoebe, the delphinium, the sheep in the pasture and the pasture, which is mostly rejoicing, since all the ingredients are here, which is gratitude, to be given a mind and a heart and these body clothes, a mouth with which to give shouts of joy to the moth and the wren, to the sleepy dug-up clam, telling them all over and over how it is that we live forever. And I'm going to invite you to stay in final relaxation for as long as you like. And I am going to stop the recording and let you relax and find your way back to sitting whenever you feel like it.